Okay, I watched You Season 3, and this is what I thought. So, You Season 3, guys, I was so excited to see this. It was a new season of You, it was Joe, and Love from Season 2. So, as always, I'm going to do a general synopsis kind of the season, and then I will get into spoilers. I will let you know when that is. And when we get to that point, you guys can continue, or if you want to stop and wait until you see this, Season 3, that is fine as well. So basically in Season 3, Joe and Love move to the suburbs and they're trying to start a new life, get away from the past that they had. And also in Season 3, they have a kid. Love is pregnant. Joe's the father. They decide to move to the suburbs, start a new life for their family and their kid. Joe is not particularly fond of the suburbs. He doesn't really want to be there, but he's like, if this is the life that will be better for my kid, I'm willing to go for it. And he's kind of like at the end of Season 2, we see that he's not too fond of Love and he's not really wants to do this, but he's like, I will do anything for my kid. I want them to have a happy life and a happy home. So they're moving to the suburbs, and then at the end of Season 2, we see he sees someone else that he's about to start his new obsession with. Yep, that's the same old Joe that from Season 1 and 2. Okay, so they're in the suburbs, they're starting their new life, and they're trying to fit in and do everything that a normal family would do. And of course, Joe has his new obsession and going through that. Love doesn't like that. She kind of finds out, and they have to deal with the repercussions and what happens in their family moving forward, knowing that he's not 100% in it like she thought he would be. So yeah, we're going through Season 3. Their relationship is not strong. It kind of wasn't strong in the beginning, but you know, as they go on, their relationship is not strong. It's kind of rocky, and then we do see them make some choices that are not good, and let's be honest, there's going to be killing. So the killing couple is back, and they make decisions try to cover up their tracks and try to move forward in this new life without anyone knowing what they're actually doing. But yeah, that's mainly Season 3. They're moving to the suburbs, trying to start this new life, but they're back in their old ways again, and they're trying to cover up their mistakes and their past and that things they keep on doing to try to fit in and to try to be in this like cookie cutter life of the husband and wife, the kid, and a white picket fence. But as we know with these two people, things are going to fall apart, and that's not always going to go perfectly. I definitely think the season was way more intense a lot quickly. I think with past seasons, it was like gradual and then it escalated. But I think in this season, they took up the intensity and brought it in a lot sooner than usual, which I enjoyed. I thought was fun because I wasn't expecting it. I was expecting it towards the end. I'm like, okay, what's going to happen? But they just came out right away with it. And I was like, oh my goodness, this season's going to be crazy. So yeah, that's the basis of Season 3 for You. That's the general about Love and Joe. So if you are interested in seeing Love and Joe and how they continue to live in the suburbs and what actually happens to them, let's continue on. If you don't know any spoilers, y'all can click off right now. But if you don't care, if you already saw the show, then let's continue on and speak about and go in depth of You Season 3 with this whole situation, basically focusing on Joe and Love. Okay, as I said before, Joe and Love moves to the suburbs. They have a kid now. It's a boy. Love is like, oh, the perfect family, kind of. She's with this man she loves, and she has a son. Joe is like, okay, I'm stuck with this woman. I have a child, and I need to do this for him. And at first, he's like upset that his son's a boy. He wanted it to be a girl, and I think he would have been happier with a girl. But then he finds it's a boy. He's like, oh no, it's a boy. Like, what am I supposed to do? But eventually he's like, okay, I need to be there for my son. I need to make sure he doesn't turn out like me, and I need to stay in this relationship to make sure he has a good home life. But soon Joe finds another woman for his obsession, and that is their next door neighbor, Natalie. So Natalie is married, so is Joe. But Joe starts talking to Natalie more, getting to know her. He like goes over to the house just to talk and everything, and then he starts to steal things of, possessions of her that he did previously with his other obsessions. Natalie starts playing in it too. She's like, oh yeah, like flirt with Joe as well, but she doesn't really feel like a connection like he's feeling. She's just more doing it for fun, like a plaything. But he soon finds that out later. But he's like, you know how Joe is, he's like all in. So he feels a connection with her, but she's not feeling the same way. She does end up trying to like get with him and sleep with him, but he ends up stopping it from going too far. He's like, I can't do this. I have a wife and everything. So he's like, no. But by that time it's too late because he already stole some stuff, and guess who finds it? Love. Love finds that he has stolen some other woman's possessions, and he's like, no, and she's like, nah, because she knows his MO, his things he does when he starts falling for another woman, and she's not happy about it. And then when she figures out who the woman is, Natalie, she kind of goes crazy. So Love wants to open a bakery, and Natalie happens to be working real estate, happens to find her a place that'd be perfect for her bakery. And Natalie shows her the basement, and then Love takes that opportunity to kill Natalie. Yep, just out of nowhere, slashes her. And I'm like, Love, oh my goodness, just kills her right there. Literally, guys, we're in the beginning of the season, and this is our first death already. Love immediately starts freaking out, and she's like, oh my goodness, I just killed her. Oh, like, no duh, girl, no duh, you just killed her. And then she calls Joe, and Joe comes over. They start fighting. They're like, oh my goodness, I can't believe you did this. And Love, well, you were over there with this woman. I saw the things you stole of her. It was more than that. Like, I knew you had an obsession for her. I know you. And they're like, okay, now they have to cover this up. And so Joe gets to work. He's like, okay, this is what we got to do. We have to find some place for the body. We need to create a story to cover up their tracks so it doesn't look like they did it. Because, Joe, this ain't his first time around the block. He's done this before. He knows what he needs to do. And Love is like freaking out. She's like, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? She's never really had to deal with this before. And to me, that was interesting, seeing their roles and kind of their reactions and what each of them did in this certain situation. Because we know they're both killers and they've killed people, and they haven't had it traced back to them. So in this instant, we see Joe kind of take the initiative. Okay, this is what we gotta do, this is what we're gonna do. And Love, who is very impulsive when she gets to this point, she literally kills before thinking. And then once it happens, she's like, oh my goodness, what did I just do? And in the show, we kind of see Joe say she's never really had to clean up her messes. She always has someone to do it for her because she was rich, and if something happened, the family would cover it up. But now it's just her and him, and they need to do this together. So she has to learn, if she does this, this is what needs to happen. So I thought that was kind of interesting how Joe does have his impulsive moments when he has killed people, but a lot of the times he's more strategic with it, or he's not fast to kill like Love is all the time. He kind of thinks about what he needs to do or set in the narrative. I'm like, okay, if this person disappears, what I need to do. Kind of thinks of it more like he did, I think, with Benji. So that is what Joe is kind of doing in this. When he does his killing, he kind of has an idea of what he wants to do. But Love is just like, oh, kill first, think later. So they're both kind of opposites in that way. And I thought it was interesting to see she's quick to kill, but then immediately freaks out and how am I going to cover this? Joe was like, okay, this is what we got to do. So yeah, they take care of Natalie's body, they bury it, and they try to think of a little story they can tell, so that buys them some time before someone actually knows that she is missing and dead. And Joe was already tired of the marriage, but at this point, they're both struggling. Joe is like, how can she just kill like that? She's a monster and all these things. And he's thinking of ways how does he get out of this marriage? Because he's like, I don't want my kid in this. I don't want him to be around her. I need to get us both out. So he's looking for a way out. And they're both kind of fractured right now after this incident, because Joe's like, oh my goodness, she's crazy. So they decided to try therapy. And after a while, therapy seems to work. They kind of realize why they do what they do when they get angry. And when I say when they get angry, it's when they kill people, they figure out why they do what they do. And it's kind of both in protection and love for the people closest to them. And then they kind of think of themselves as a team for Henry, a team in this together. And that seems to work. I'm like, okay, they're on a new level. They're good. Well, not for long, because Joe has a new obsession. He has a new obsession with Mary Ann, who works at the library. And he's like, ooh, I like her. I want to be with her. But he's like, I can't steal anything from her, which he's used to. He's like, you can't take anything, because if Love finds it, Love will kill her. And he doesn't want that to happen to Mary Ann. While Joe finds Mary Ann, Love kind of finds Theo. Theo is this college student who also happens to be the stepson of Natalie, aka woman she killed. Theo likes Love. He finds her attractive. And Love, at first, he's like, no, I have a son. I'm married. No, leave me alone. This can't go any farther. So they kind of just friends, and she's there for him if he needs her. But then eventually she gives in, because he's really nice to her. He's flirting with her, giving her attention that Joe does not give her anymore. And I think that's why she kind of gives in to Theo, because she feels appreciated and kind of loved by someone. because her husband's just like kicking her to the curb. Let's be honest. His mind is distracted. Love's kind of having a thing with Theo, and Joe is obsessed with Marianne. And they becoming friends. Like, they don't really do anything yet, but they become friends, and eventually they be flirting and doing other things. So yeah, their marriage is kind of like crumbling before them. They both don't know about each other's other person that they're with. Love doesn't really think of Theo in that way. Like, she does see him as a friend. I think she does have feelings for him, but doesn't really want to admit it. She cares about him, but not in the same way she cares for Joe. But Joe, on the other hand, is obsessed with Marianne, and of course his obsession is like, she's the one for me. So for the person he's with, it's kind of different for him. So they're in different spaces. But Love is still trying to make their marriage work, and Joe is, no, I need to find a way out. He's like, I'm trying to keep Love happy, because if she's not happy, she finds out what he's doing, she'll kill Marianne, and he doesn't want that to happen. So he's trying to keep her happy, make it seem like he's in it, finding a way to get him and his son Henry out. I also think there's a lot of hypocrisy in this season. Love was mad at Joe for like kind of falling for another woman, accusing him of cheating and like being distracted and not want to be with her and things like that. But also she's with Theo, cheating on Joe. I don't think Joe really cares, but like, she's doing something that she's upset that he's doing. So there's that. And then Joe, he's like mad at Love for killing and doing things like that, but then he kills for Marianne. Yeah, he kills Marianne's ex so that she can have custody of her kid. He does that, and he's like accusing Love of being a killer and a monster. He's like, oh my goodness, she's so impulsive and all this stuff. She's killed. I'm like, Joe, you're doing the same thing, but you just think you have a better reason for it. But you know, they both justify their actions in their own way. So, you know, why is that new? I just think they both accusing others of certain things that they're doing themselves. So I'm like, in my opinion, they're both hypocrites. They're both mad at each other for doing things that they're also doing. And what also doesn't help their relationship is that Love keeps just killing people impulsively. As a way to fix it, after the first time she killed Natalie, was that they decided to build a box. And I was like, that's how you know Joe is crazy. He's like, you know, to buy some more time, let's build a box. They built the box in the basement of the bakery where Natalie was killed to save them time. So if they're impulsive again, this at least buys them some time. And I'm just like, Joe. So like, he's expecting her to kill again or expecting them to kill again. He's like, you know, this is just a just in case. And I'm like, Joe, you think Love is crazy, but you're always the one building a box wherever you are. He's like, you know, just in case. I'm like, oh my goodness, the crazy has begun. So there is another moment when Love is impulsive, and that's when, after her son Henry gets sick, you know, they're calling around the neighborhood, letting all the parents know. And like, the parents are upset that Love's child is sick, but she's trying to, like, you know, tell all the parents, like, hey, my son is sick. I want to let you guys know just in case. I forget exactly what he was sick with, but it was contagious. You know, things spread around kids a lot easier when they're around each other. So she's like, you know, I just want to let you know. And like, all the parents are like ostracizing them because their kid's sick and they don't want their kids to get sick. So in the bakery one day, one of the parents comes in. He's like, oh, I'm really sorry to hear about Henry. I'm glad he's okay. She's like, yeah. Well, I guess his kids were never vaccinated with like some, I want to say like smallpox, but I don't know if that's what it was. But since his kids were never vaccinated with that or whatever they were when they were younger, they're like, he's like, oh, we don't believe in that and everything. They were the reason that Henry got sick. And because of that, Love was like, you could see red when she got angry. I was like, dude, you don't know what we're doing. And I was like, and he was like, you know, we're so sorry, but we're glad he's okay. And then he was about to walk out, and I thought she was gonna let him go. You know, I thought she was angry, which, you know, well deserved, because, you know, her son did get sick. But I thought she was gonna let him go. But no, I know why she did, because her son, and she cares about her family and the people she loves, and she won't let anyone jeopardize that. Okay, so she hit the guy that hurt her son. The dad locked him in the box, and then they're trying to find a way that they don't have to kill him, but like kind of blackmail him so he doesn't rat them out. So Love and Joe are trying to find ways to blackmail him, and they figure out that their other son has done something bad, and they try to blackmail him with that, and he didn't really know. I mean, the father didn't really know that, or paid the school to be quiet. He's like, no, that didn't happen. And they're like, we know you're not a bad guy. You're just trying to do right for your kid. But I guess his wife had paid or did hush money so that his son wouldn't get in trouble. And so he just felt so distraught about that. And he was like, it's my fault she did this. You know, if I was a better husband, a better father, and all this and that. And then he ends up taking his life. They connect his death with Natalie's. Like, they were having an affair. He couldn't stand it. So they connected the death between them two and everything like that, and kind of killed two birds with one stone. So no one would suspect them. It's kind of creative and genius in a way, but they're both crazy. So do Love does feel that Joe is distancing himself from her. He's not really in it anymore. She can tell that he's different, and she's trying to change it. Make their marriage last and stay, because she does love him. Stay in this together. Figure out ways to keep their love alive. So she starts talking to Sherry and Carrie, and I guess they like to do different things with other couples. They have like a little contract they make the couple sign to not to speak of it. But they're like, a lot of people are into this. You guys, if you want to do it, let us know. But like, only if if you guys aren't ready for it, that's fine. But when you're ready, or if you want to do this, let us know and we'll get down to it. They ask them what they're comfortable with. Love's like, oh yeah, that's fine. I'm comfortable with it. And then Joe and Sherry start kissing. And Love is very possessive and very jealous. She's like, no, don't do that anymore, and kind of gets upset and leaves. And then Joe goes after her. And he's like, this was your idea. And they start arguing and everything because she's trying to save the relationship. And she's like, I don't know what will save it. So they're still arguing and they're getting louder. And then Love mentions something about, killing Natalie. And Joe's like, shh. And then I'm like, Love, are you stupid? When her emotions get the best of her, she really can't control what she does. But she's yelling. There's other people in her house. And she just says she killed a woman. And they're like, oh my goodness, did they hear us? And they're hoping they don't. So they go back up into the room, hoping they didn't hear them. And then Sharon and Carrie look like, they didn't hear them. Like, okay, you want to continue? But then they notice, like, in their eyes, Sherry and Carrie acting weird. And then Love and Joe are like, get them. And they, not really get them. They're like trying to calm them down. They're like, oh, you didn't hear us right. Like, just listen to us. And Joe goes after Carrie, and then Love is with Sherry. And they're both just fighting each other. And honestly, that was one of my favorite scenes, seeing them go after each other. I was like, oh, Sherry and Carrie got this. Because I'm like, they look like they can fight in the ring, you know what I'm saying? But Joe and Love, they came out victorious in the end, got them both. They didn't kill them. They just knocked them both out and put them in the box, the glass box they have. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, like, what are they going to do now? Like, if this couple goes missing, like, how are they going to do it? Okay, now Sherry and Carrie are in this glass box. They know Love and Joe are crazy. But Sherry's trying to appeal to Love as a friend. He's like, okay, we're not going to say anything. Just let us out this box. Like, I'll do whatever. She's trying to be her friend. And Love and Joe, they haven't killed them. They're trying to figure out what they do with them. Because it's two people. Are they going to, tell the world about them and all the murders? Or are they going to be quiet and not do anything? So they're trying to figure out that. And let me just say, Sharon and Carrie, I didn't love them at first. But after the scenes in the glass box when they're together, love them. Like, when I say the side characters made the show, this is what I'm talking about. I love Sharon and Carrie. It was great to watch them in this box. And I honestly didn't think they were going to make it. I was like, this relationship is not based... it's like a shallow relationship, whatever. But they stuck it through. They really do love each other. And true love wins all. And they came out in the end, they're both fighting for each other and fighting to stay alive. And I just love that. So when they're in the box, there's a lot of other things going on. Joe is in love with Marianne. Marianne gets her daughter back, and they're just trying to figure out a way to leave Love. Theo, his dad, is trying to find Natalie's killer. He doesn't believe it was that father. He's trying to figure out, who really killed Natalie, and he's become obsessed. And he's trying to look at video cameras and everything, but he doesn't really find anything. His son Theo kind of finds a camera that catches Joe leaving with Natalie's body, and he's like, this is it. This is how I can save Love, because he really cares for Love, and he thinks she's in danger of this relationship. He doesn't actually know how crazy this woman is, but he goes to Love. He's like, oh, I got this info for you. You can leave Joe. Like, you can take your son and you can leave him and all this. And even though Love does care about Theo, she sees him now as like a threat against her family and her, like, the love of Joe, love of her son, and like breaking up her family. So another thing is, Theo finds in the basement are Sherry and Carrie. And they're like, oh, you need to get the key. Find the key, please. And he's like, what? And he's like, Love did this. Love killed Natalie. He's like, no, she wouldn't do that. And they're like, no, she's crazy. So he tries to find the key and everything. And Love finds him trying to find the key. She's like, what are you doing? And then that's the end of the road for her. He's like jeopardizing her family. And he finds out that she has two people hidden in the basement. So she hits him across the head and kills him. And so he's just lying there Poor dude. Like he didn't mean to step into all this. He just thought he loved her and didn't know how crazy she really was. So Joe comes back to the bakery, where all this happened, and finds Theo's body. And he's like, this poor dude didn't know what's coming to him. Well, then I guess Theo twitches and he's still alive. Theo is not dead, everybody. And so Joe feels bad for him. He's like, this kid didn't really deserve it. And he knows love is with this kid, but he doesn't really care. And so he takes the kid and takes him to the hospital. And he's like, sorry, dude, about her, basically, but takes him to the hospital to make sure he gets the help that is needed. Let's go back to Sherry and Carrie, y'all, because, we love them. So Sherry and Carrie, they do go a little crazy in the box. Like, who wouldn't? You're stuck in this box, don't know when you're going to get out. And Love and Joe are crazy. And they're both, like, arguing. Love gives them a gun. And it's like, okay, one of you guys shoot the other, and then I'll let the other one free. And they're like, what? They thinking that they can shoot their way out, not thinking it's bulletproof glass. And I think Carrie shoots the gun, and it ricochets and hits Sherry's ear. So part of her ear is shot off. And then she shoots the gun in his leg. So he now has a hole in his leg because she shot the gun. And she's like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do it. So yeah, they reached a low point at that time. But they're trying to figure out how to get out. And Carrie's losing a lot of blood. And she's like, we're going to get out of here. We're going to get out. And you can see. But then they start talking about their relationship and how they fell in love with each other when they really didn't have anything. And that's when I was like, okay, these people, this love between them is not fake. They really do love each other. One on the outside, you might see them as just an exterior, and it's just like convenience that they're together. They really, at the base of their relationship, was true love. So Sherry is like, we are getting out of here. And she's like, they don't trust each other. There's a key in here somewhere. So she's searching and looking for a key. And I was like, this was one of the smartest things from Sherry. And she's like searching through everything, and she's like about to give up. And that's when she finds the key. And they're able to get out of the box. And I was like, yes, Sherry and Carrie, you do this. Because, the audience knows there's a key. They each hit a key in there because, of course, they don't trust each other. But they found it. They found the key, and they're able to get out of the box. And I'm just so happy for them. These two people that I did not like in the beginning, in the lowest of circumstances, they overcame, y'all. They were together the whole time. And I was like, good for them. But now let's bring it to the ending. And I'm just like, wow, this ending, crazy. So, Joe took Theo to the hospital, and Love found out that Joe is obsessed with Marianne. And the way she finds out is because of the murder of her ex. Because he's a famous, like, guy on TV, like, newscaster, works for TV. And she remembers that was Marianne's ex. And when she finds out he's killed, she's like, that was Joe. He killed him for her. And she's like, nope, this is the end. She's got to go. So Joe comes home to find Love making a dinner for the family. And she's like, no, go ahead and sit. So they start having dinner and everything. And then they're talking. And then she poisons Joe. But she puts it on the knife so it can like soak into his skin. And he realizes he was squeezing the knife that he had in his hand, and that had the poison on it. And I think it was wolfsbane. So now he's kind of paralyzed on the ground in the kitchen. And he's just there. She's like, we're going to talk. And I believe she puts something in his mouth, over his mouth, and she leaves. Then Theo's father comes and finds Joe, not Theo. Comes and finds Joe laying there on the floor. And he's like, where's Theo? Where is he? And he like tries to get it out and tell him. The father figures out that he's at the hospital, and the father just leaves him there. He's like, you deserve what you get. You knew what she was, and leaves Joe. And I was like, oh, snap. I was like, okay. He killed, I understand. I thought he was going to help him, all this stuff. No, he's like, this is well-deserved. This is what you get. So he leaves and goes to get Theo from the hospital. Love comes back, and he's like, we're going to get your Marianne over here, and you're going to watch me kill her. Love, my goodness, on another level, was not ready. So then Marianne comes over, and Love is talking to her, and, she has a weapon, a knife behind her back, ready to, do the killing. But Marianne doesn't see Joe because he's literally passed out on the floor, hidden. And Love is ready to make her kill when her daughter comes in and asks to use the bathroom. And Love can't kill Marianne when her daughter comes in. So they show her the bathroom, and Love talks to Marianne and warns her. And like, you need to leave. She's like, you need to leave. Joe will kill for you. He already did. And Marianne's like, what are you talking about? He was like, he killed your ex for you. He's like, no. He's like, no, I know him. He's done this before. and he did it for you. You need to go and run away as far as you can. And kind of warning her to get away from Joe. And then Marianne's like, well, what about you? And Love's like, I've dealt with it. She's fine. And Marianne like literally tells her, she's like, if there's a voice in your head telling you to leave, you need to get out. Like, you deserve better. And I think that's what Love needed to hear. So Marianne leaves unscathed, not killed by Love. And Love is getting ready to kill Joe. And she's like, I deserve better. You make me think I'm crazy when all this time it was you. And then Joe comes out of nowhere and attacks Love. He's like, you didn't think I was going to look up what you had growing in your garden? So he knew it was Wolfsbane, and then he took like an antidote or something to make it slower so that if she did use it on him, he wouldn't be as affected by it. And I was like, oh snap, they're both smart. Like it was crazy. I was not ready for it. Love is like on the ground and everything, and Joe killed her. And it was like sad, she was like, they're both killers, but it was sad because she was really trying to make the relationship work. She really loved him. In the end, he's the one that killed her. So Joe set it up to make it look like him and Love both died in their house in a fire. So he has Love's body. He turns the oven on high, make it look like there's a fire causing. And the one thing he does, he cuts off his toe. I was like, y'all, I was not ready. He cuts off his toe so that there's some evidence of him being in the house. He leaves of like a goodbye note from Love saying that she killed all these people and she killed him and Joe, and goodbye to the world. And then their house goes up in flames. And then for Henry, he takes Henry to a friend he trusts, to a couple, and leaves Henry on their doorstep, and they decide to raise Henry as their own. And that was one thing that bothered me. It was like, I feel like this whole season, the reason he stayed with Love was because of his son. But I'm just like, I don't know, just giving up his son in the end was like, what was the whole point? Like, it was just annoying. I was like, this dude kills his wife. He's like, okay, I'm just going to get rid of my son now. And this whole time he's like, I need to make sure my son has a good, loving family, care for him. So I don't know. I thought he would like keep his son and try to go through life with his son. So that was just one point that annoyed me. Like, I can understand he wanted his son to have a better family than he did and grow up. So he gave it to a couple he trusted. But it was like, you this whole time were like, oh, I want, make sure my son has a loving family and be there for him and all this, and then drops him off. But, whatever. That's my opinion. But then at the end of the episode, this is the part that gets me. Joe is in Paris. To follow Marianne. Because when he asked Marianne where she would go when she had her kid, she's like, I would run away from my ex and go to Paris with my daughter. And where did Joe go? To Paris. He took his stalking on a whole nother level. He flew into another country to follow this chick. And I'm just like, this dude is crazy. But yeah, I'm like, when he is obsessed with something, he dedicates. So at the end of season 3, we see him in Paris. He found Marianne, but he hasn't found her yet. He's there, but he doesn't know where she is. So it looks like season 4 is going to be in Paris, I guess. But I'm like, literally after that, I was like, this dude just, left his child and decided to follow another obsessed woman. And I was like, I cannot. But yeah, that was the end of season 3 with you. And I was like, wow, what a way to end. It ended, I think, on a high, wanting me to know what happened in season 4. And I think you can only go up from here. I don't know if season 4 will be the last season. I think it might be. And I hope Joe dies, because he deserves to die for all the murders he did. But I'm like, how do they make, how does he die? Who kills him? What I think, I don't think Love is really dead. I don't know why. I'm like, I guess she could be dead, but I don't think she is. And I want her to come back in season 4, be like, surprise, just like that other girl did in season 2. Like, I'm still here. I want Love to come back like that. And I just think that would be amazing if that actually happened. Like, she just come back and kills Joe. And it's like, you thought I died. Bam. So yeah, I think that'd be really cool to see in season 4. I'm also nervous with if he finds Marianne, will she believe what Love said? Because Joe did make this elaborate email with Love killing Joe and all this stuff. So will she believe what Love said about Joe? Or will Joe end up convincing this woman, oh, she's crazy. My Love was crazy. Don't believe her. So that kind of worries me, because I'm like, Marianne, stay away. And still, I'm so surprised that Joe was able to get all these women to fall for him. It's just crazy to me. But he doesn't seem crazy at first. But I'm just like, y'all, red flags everywhere. But yeah, I really enjoyed season 3. I loved it. It was one of my top shows of 2021 that I watched. And If you haven't seen it already, you basically know what happened, but it's a great show and highly recommend. But after watching the show, I was between 3.5 to 4 stars, but I think I'm going to give this 4 stars. I really enjoyed season 3. It was my favorite out of all of them. So yeah, I'm going to give it 4 stars for this season. I thought it was amazing, and I can't wait to see season 4 and what they do next. Like, how do you go bigger? But you know, it's in Paris, so go big, go home. But yeah, all 3 seasons of You is on Netflix. So if you want to rewatch it, go for it. If you've never seen it, go watch it. It's a great series. I highly enjoyed it. And I apologize this review took so long. I've been behind, but I'm trying to catch up. But thank you guys for coming back and listening to what I think of this TV show. If you're interested in any more TV content, feel free to check out any other videos, and I'll link some blog posts below as well. And as always, you can go check out my website. I'll link some blog posts below for you to go check out for additional TV content. If you want to know anytime I upload a video, you can definitely subscribe to the channel. If you're interested in anytime I do a blog post, you can go follow me on Twitter. I'm most active on there, and I post and let you guys know when I have a new video or blog post up. So feel free to do that. I hope you have a good rest of your day, week, month, and year. And until next time, bye.